Hello, you're listening to Dadrules, Stepup. In this podcast, I want to talk about your role as a father after separation or a divorce. Many dads think that's it's the end of the world, there can't be a father anymore. This isn't true. In this podcast, we're going to take a look at some of the things that happened to me. We're going to talk about the way I was and the way I changed after separation. Separation is a fantastic time to reevaluate yourself as a father. Okay, so this is my first podcast and I've never done this before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a brief description on who I am and what my situation is. I'm a father of 4 kids, 3 girls and 1 boy. I'm 41 years old. I split up from their partner quite a few years ago now, and I've always strived to have a continuous, healthy, complete fatherhood relationship with my kids. Even to a point now where I have 2 of them living with me, at any given time, and I alternate the kids for in the week when after school and then at the weekend. And basically, I have them at 50% of the time as their mum does. And sometimes, and maybe a little bit more. But, that's my choice. You don't have to go to that extreme. But I just wanted to give you a brief description of the way I've done things and what I've strived to achieve. I actually live around the corner from their mother's house. I more or less see them going to school in the morning, or I can do if I want to pop my head out the window, and sometimes they just pop past on the way back from school to use my toilet. Yeah, quick Dad, can I use your toilet? Well, they don't even say that, I just hear them come running in and slam the door. And then that's it, they say bye and go back to the mams. But, that's how close sort of my situation is with my kids. They pop in when they like, they do what they like. My eldest has got a key. Oh, I don't know if he's still got it, but anyway, so that's a quick brief description on me, on myself and who I am. So now I'm going to go have a bit of a discussion about this podcast, why I'm doing this podcast, and what I hope to achieve with these podcasts and things for my channel. So the reason I'm doing this podcast is I want to try different avenues where people can communicate with me, or they can listen to me, or they can sort of pick up tips, and it may help them for a hard time, may help them. Even if, the odd thing may help them, then I'm happy with that. I'm a happy dude. That'll do me. Because at the end of the day, it's all about being a great dad. And being a great dad is just what we want to do, isn't it? We can all be good at a certain career, or be good at, mending a car, building a house. But is that really what we really want to be great at? Not really. If you've got kids, your role is to be a parent first and then everything second. So I would like to sort of try and discuss the sort of opportunity you get after a divorce. After a divorce or after a separation or anything where, you just split up with from your ex-partner and you've got children. Now, I myself, it happens automatically, I would like to say. Trying to think of a word to use, probably reevaluate, is not so much what you should be saying, but it's sort of the process of what happens after your separation makes you reevaluate who you are as a father, and it makes you become a better dad, overall. Simply, I'll give a few examples. You have to sort of separate your quality time, so you start to begin to have quality time with your children at least once a week or twice a week, whereas if you actually, still in the relationship, at the weekend you'd probably maybe in a pub, or, in the week you're constantly working. So, you tend to sort of make that quality time at the weekend. When you have your kids, you don't go to the pub, you have your kids. So that, and when you have your kids, you're not sort of distracted by other things. You're actually doing something with your kids. I'm not trying to say that you have to take your kids out all the time. It's actually, beneficial not to actually spoil your kids or make them feel like that, just because they're going to dad's, they must do something. That's not the situation. They have to get used to the fact of that's just 2 separate different homes. And they don't have to do something every time they come to you, but just being with you, just sitting down with you, maybe watching a film with you in your house, watching a movie, or just the quality time you start to spend with your kids tends to end up being a lot more quality time than most fathers spend with their children that actually are in relationships and still with a mother. There's that side, that process, you start to become that daddy where you connect with your children more, you get to know them a lot more, you become more of a friend than actually a father, so to speak, or a parent. I find anyway, that's what I found. And there's certain things where you start to do things that you didn't do previous. You cook them. I mean, I didn't cook when I was with the ex-partner, but I did, when I left. You have to cook their meal. You have to make sure they're fed for school. I mean, you have to make sure they're fed. You have to make sure they're clean for school, they're presentable. You have to make sure they've got the right clothes, so that means shopping. You have to make sure, all the girls have got what they need. If it's, a girl stuff, they need the girl stuff. Or that's it, they're kicking off. You may as well just sort of plug your ears because you're going to get some screams. But you tend to start getting used to all that, and that in general tends to make yourself automatically reevaluate the way you was as a father and the way you are being, and you do naturally become a better dad. I mean, I've heard many sort of wives saying about, he was a horrible partner, he was a horrible husband, and he wasn't even that much of a fantastic dad, but now he's a great dad, look at him, and I've heard many sort of wives and that say this about their sort of ex-partners, sort of start pulling him down, calling him, maybe a bit jealous and so forth, saying that, look at him now, he's a great dad now, he does this with him, he does that for him. So it's not done to spout out of spite, it's not done out of spite to sort of do something different or anything like that, or to make your ex-wife jealous, so it's a natural course of action. You put in a different situation, you have to start adapting to that situation. And if you're a father, that's what happens. You just tend to become a better father. So in a lot of ways, the opportunity and the actual positiveness of a breakup is in many ways quite good. I mean, don't get me wrong, a family unit is obviously more better, obviously. But you do tend to find in 70% of the world, in a family unit, tend to get lost in what they should be doing, like working, or, when they're not working, they want a bit of time to themselves. So then, generally, overall, kids tend to suffer from this. They tend not to get to know their parents as much as they could, and so forth. But this way, and it goes the same for, like, the mother's side. The kids will start to get to know their mother a bit more because they're not fighting for the dad's attention, because they're getting the dad's attention. So in a lot of ways, it can be a massive bonus. I mean, I'm not going to say go out and divorce your wife because of that, or separate because of that. You first of all, you want to, if you've got problems, you're not doing that in the family unit as it is, you want to address that anyway. That's my opinion, but I'm just saying that when you do separate and you sat there thinking, I'm not going to spend this quality time with my kids, I'm going to be a part-time dad, I'm not blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you might feel like that, but once you start learning and start getting into the fact that, hold up, I'm seeing my kids twice a week, I'm spending, time with them, quality time with them that I didn't actually do previous. You start to find out a lot more about your kids. You grow with your kids. I mean, my kids are older now from when I first separated with them, and I've grown with them in more, in a more of a friendship way, and I know them a lot more than I probably would have known them if I'd have still been in that family unit. I mean, I still class it as a family unit, but I call it family unity, because we broke up, but we're still all a family unit. If I've got a problem, I'll talk to her, I'll talk to their mum, and I'll ring her, and I can ring her anytime, and she can me. She pops round sometimes and speaks, and so forth. It's a more of a family unity, a bigger bubble, not really just a bubble splitting. It's just a bigger bubble. I'll say that for another podcast. But yeah, the opportunity you can have from separation, and the things that it forces you to do. It forces you to become that better father. It forces you to spend time with your kids. It forces you to start to learn other aspects, and maybe you start to see life in a different way, to be honest. I know I did. I was a typical stereotypical man, work, pub, and then, I'd take my kids on holiday and so forth, but that was the main sort of, very stereotypical. But I think a lot of the world's like that, but when it comes down to it, you just tend to automatically turn into this better dad, this better role model. I won't say role model, but better person for your children. You do. It's an automatic process. And it's not really necessarily done, like I say, in a case of you're doing it, but it's just the process you go through. You just become it. A year later, you start thinking, hold up, I'm not going out on that night. I don't do this. I'm not working. I'm putting my work away and I'm spending more quality time. You become a better father, which is a massive positive thing. So anyway, that's all. I'm going to leave it there for this podcast. I've never done a podcast before. I mean, I've heard of them. I used to listen to radio myself, but I just wanted to get a bit about me out there. I wanted to waffle on about a bit of a topic, to try and explain what I'm doing with the channel. So I'll try and do a bit more, see how this podcast goes. And yeah, I'd love feedback from you guys. I'd love you to post some comments in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you got any ideas or if I'm coming through okay. Or just generally, how do you find that situation? How did you find that situation? Are you going through that situation? If you are, do you want some advice? I mean, I'm not going to give you advice that I'm going to sit and say I definitely know. I only give you advice on what I actually did and the way I found things. Because I made plenty of mistakes. I really did. But that's what we learn. And the best thing is, if we all share our mistakes and we all learn from our mistakes, and we can only just become better fathers. So I'm going to leave it there, guys, because I've probably been going on a little bit too long. So I'm going to try and sort of work these podcasts out so they work out, as long as they should be, and more clearer and straight to the point. But, in general, I don't mind just talking a bit. It's natural. It's a bit more natural, I find it. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. If you like the show, pop a like on it, and like other shows, I'm going to be having like a bit of a question time. So, you can send in your questions. If you've got anything to ask, I'll read them out on the next show if you like. I don't know, that seems to be the trend. But anyway, have a good day, guys, and pop back next time and listen to it. And yeah, let me know what you think, guys. Take care.